Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Harakah HaKodash. The double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS Great Millstone, and a sincere Shalom to you Akim, bringing out this word in diligence and in truth. Salahia, I'm still recovering from getting my wisdom teeth pulled out, so if I sound a little funny, that's because I can barely open my mouth, but I gotta push, and from last week, I wasn't able to do any lessons because I couldn't open my mouth at all, and speaking what really hurt, I got all 4 pulled out, but I wrote like 12 lessons, so this was one of the lessons. So Lord willing, it's edifying. Says 41% of young adults support giving AI broad government powers. A little over 4 in 10 young voting age adults are in favor of giving artificial intelligence broad government powers, according to a recently released survey. The Harlan Institute Glenn C. Haskins Emerging Issues Center in Rasmussen reports announced on Wednesday the findings of a poll taken of 1,496 likely voters aged 18 to 39 with a margin of sampling error plus or minus 3 percentage points with a 95% confidence level. According to the study's findings, 41% of respondents said they support giving an advanced AI system authority to control public policy making decisions. It's like right. It says according to the study's findings, 41% of respondents said they support giving an advanced AI system authority to control public policy making decisions. Right? So what does this mean? Well, when we go back to the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter, and the scriptures speak about the image being made alive, right? Yeah, power. All right. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start here at verse 13. It's like in verse 11. It's a like it once again if I sound funny. It still hurts, but not as much as last week. This Revelation 13:11, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him. Right? And it says he had 2 horns like a lamb. Right? That represents the ancient plebeians and patricians, which horns represent power. It says and he had 2 horns like a lamb, so 2 power structures. Ancient plebeians and patricians, modern day Democrats and Republicans. It says like a lamb, right? The lamb gives the appearance of docility, right? A docile creature, something unable to harm you, something for the people, right? Or the appearance as if it's for the people. It says and he spake as a dragon, right? Dragon going into what? The fierceness, the harshness, because ultimately Esau Edom is going to be implementing these laws from this 2-party system, right? Or from the covering of this 2-party system, because really the left and the right, the blue and the red are just facades of control. It's not who's actually pulling the strings. The elites, top banking families are the ones actually pulling the strings, but they just allow these politicians to be the face of these movements and different bills that they're pushing out towards the public, right? It says, and he spake as a dragon. Spake as a dragon. And ultimately, the word dragon goes into Dracon, right? And when you look at what Dracon did, right, or Draco, what he did is there was severe punishment for anyone breaking the laws in any way that they deem fit, which E is going to do the same thing, man. Basically saying anybody breaking the laws, small or great, whatever we deem is allowable, if they break or try to find a gray area within that law, guess what? They can deem them punishable by death. Right? It says he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, right, which is the Roman Empire, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, right, whose deadly wound was healed. And the Roman Empire was healed, right? Even though we understand it was destroyed, there was a revitalization of that Roman Empire, right? Which is what we see today, right? You call it the Renaissance period, was the revitalization or the rebirth. And what we have today, this last beast, being when we go into the book of Daniel, the 2nd chapter, and it speaks about the iron mixed with the miry clay. Well, this is that revival of that Roman Empire, man. It's a new Renaissance, right? Which is backed by a technocracy, right? Biohumanism, transhumanism, an age that will be defied by AI as your new power, right? As Elder Eswamba calls it, artificial idumia, which is exactly what it is. Because as that article goes into, 41% are basically wanting to put the creation of laws into the hands of AI, which is a system based off of Esau's algorithm, according to his mind, right? And now we're living in a time in which this AI system, unlike the gods of ancient, for example, that's a spirit. I want to go into the account of Bel and the dragon, right? Because we understand that Bel was just that. It was a literal statue, but you had people worshiping it as if it was eating, as if it was eating, as if it was drinking, right? But it wasn't doing any of that. What was actually happening is that you had men, taking those victuals that they were sacrificing or offering unto Bel, and they were eating it themselves. But now, with the technology being as advanced as it is, Esau can create that idol once again. But now the AI is able to speak to you. Now the AI is able to give results unto you. So it's come to life, man. AI itself has become an idol. And you see Christians using this AI tool and telling people, guess what? Oh, well, you can go talk to Jesus, right? Now you got AI Jesus, right? And they're asking it questions and it's responding. And you got people creating AI girlfriends, telling them to off they self, right? So the image is speaking, man. It's come to life. This Bel and the dragon, and I'm selecting. Let me just get to the point, right? I could read the whole thing, but sheesh. Okay, it is I'm gonna jump around. Bel and Dragon, verse 3 says, Now the Babylons had an idol called Bel, and there were spent upon him every day 12 great measures of fine flour and 40 sheep and 6 vessels of wine. And the king worshipped it and went daily to adore it. But Daniel worshipped his own power, Yahweh, right, by Hashem Yahweh Shai. And the king said unto him, Why does not thou worship Bel? Who answered and said, Because I may not worship idols made with hands, but the living power, who hath created the heaven and the earth, and hath sovereignty over all flesh. Then said the king unto him, Thinkest thou not that Bel is a living power? Seest thou not how much he eateth and drinketh every day? So the king is basically telling Daniel, you don't see how much he's eating? How much food is being sacrificed unto him, and that the food is disappearing? He's obviously eating. That's what the king is telling Daniel. Then Daniel smiled and said, Hey, you understand the word is alive. Daniel was an Israelite, right? So you gotta think of how Jake, took the king saying this. He like, oh, this motherfucker, man. This king is foolish, right? Then Daniel smiled and said, O king, be not deceived, for this is but clay within. and brass without, and did never eat or drink anything. So the king was wroth and called for his high priests and said unto them, If ye tell me not who this is that devoureth these expenses, ye shall die. But if ye can certify me that Baal devoureth them, then Daniel shall die. For he has spoken blasphemy against Baal. And Daniel said unto the king, Let it be according to thy word. Alright, so I'm going to jump down. Daniel basically put some, I'll read that part. Alright. It's 9. It says, But if ye can, I read that. Now 10. It says, Now the priests of Baal were 70, beside their wives and children. And the king went with Daniel into the temple of Baal. So Baal's priest said, Lo, we go out, but thou, O king, set on the meat, and make ready the wine, and shut the door fast, and seal it with thine own signet. And tomorrow when thou comest in, if thou findest not that Baal hath eaten up all, we will suffer death, or else Daniel that speaketh falsely against us. And they little regarded it, for under the table they had made a privy entrance, whereby they entered in continually and consumed those things, basically showing how they were actually eating the sacrifices given unto Baal. Right? Now, the king seen that ultimately that the food was going, right? This 14 says, So when they were going forth, the king set meats before Baal. Now Daniel had commanded his servants to bring ashes, right? And this is basically what Daniel did to show forth that the idol was not eating at all, but it was actually men who were eating the things commemorated unto the idol, right? It says, So when they were going forth, the king set meats before Baal. Now Daniel had commanded his servants to bring ashes, and those they strewed throughout all the temple in the presence of the king alone. Then went they out and shut the door and sealed it with the king's signet, and so departed. Now in the night came the priests with their wives and children, as they were wont to do, and did eat and drink up all. In the morning betime the king arose, and Daniel with him. And the king said, Daniel, are the seals whole? And he said, Yea, O king, they be whole. And as soon as he had opened the door, the king looked upon the table and cried with a loud voice, Great art thou, O Baal, and with thee is no deceit at all. Then Daniel laughed and held the king that he should not go in. He said, Behold now the pavement, and mark well whose footsteps are these. And the king said, I see the footsteps of men, women, and children. And the king was angry. All right, so that was the point, to bring this out, that the idol in this case, was not alive. It was nothing but clay and brass fashioned by the hands of men. And, there's a scripture, I believe, in the book of Isaiah, speaking about how a man will take out a tree out the forest, and carve it up and commemorate it unto an idol, in the shape of an animal or whatever the case may be. It speaks about the smith, that I believe it's Isaiah, the 44th chapter. I'm not going to read it all. I just want to make sure that it's there. Yeah, this is it. Isaiah 44. All right. And it reads, Murray 8, it says, Fear ye not, neither be afraid. Have not I told thee from that time, and have declared it? You're even my witnesses. It's like it. Is there a power beside me? Yea, there is no power. I know not any. They that make a graven image are all of them vanity. And their delectable things shall not profit, and they are not their own witnesses. They see not, nor know, that they may be ashamed. Who hath formed a power, or molten a graven image that is profitable for nothing? Right? It says, Behold, all his fellows shall be ashamed, and the workmen, they are of men. Let them all be gathered together. Let them stand. Let them stand up, yet they shall fear, and they shall be ashamed together. Right? The smith with the tongs both worketh in the coals, and fashion it with hammers, and worketh it with the strength of his arms. Yea, he is hungry, and his strength faileth. He drinketh no water and is faint. Slacking. 1 second. Right, so it's speaking of ultimately a blacksmith or someone of that what we call it, career, someone of that craft who's actually forming an idol, much like Diana of Ephesus, right? It took a craftsman in order to actually mold that idol's body. It says, the smith with the tongs both worketh in the coals and fashioneth it with hammers, and worketh it with the strength of his arms. Yea, he is hungry and his strength faileth. He drinketh no water and is faint. The carpenter stretcheth out his rule. He marketh it out with a line. He fitteth it with planes, and he marketh it out with his compass, and maketh it after the figure of a man, according to the beauty of a man, that it may remain in the house. He heweth him down cedars, and taketh the cypress and the oak, which he strengtheneth for himself among the trees of the forest. He planteth an ash, and rain doth nourish it. Right? But it goes into basically all the idols being made, right, of the things of that which the Lord created. That's why the scriptures say, and worship the creature more than the creator, who is blessed forever. Amen, in the book of Romans. Because ultimately that's what, men were doing of the ancient day and men are doing today. But now it's become technologically advanced to where it's not a physical idol anymore. But now it's AI, which is it's a digital platform which is accessible at any time of day. So people are going into this device, this artificial idumia, this idol, AI, and asking questions, and it's giving them feedback and answers at an instant, much like prayers. It's as if every prompt is a prayer, and AI is pushing it back out to the public to answer that prayer in whatever form it is. It's creating schedules for people. It's giving them advice, It's showing them where to put their money, so forth and so on. So it's an idol, man. People are trusting or confiding within this technology as if it's a god, man. And he wants it that way. So when we go back into this article here, 41% of respondents said that they're supporting giving an AI, it's like giving an advanced AI system authority to control public policy making decisions. They're ultimately putting AI in that position as their god or as their leader, as their head, right? And in doing this, it's ultimately stripping them of the power of man and giving that idol life. And that's exactly what John seen when he wrote what he wrote in Revelation 13 chapter, man. He's seen that life was given to the image of the beast, man. Right? And I'm going to get to it. I'm going to read down. It says, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire. It's 13. And he doeth great wonders, so that it maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles. Right? And ultimately, Yahweh Shai is giving Esau, a particular range in order to do these pseudo miracles. Right? Pseudo meaning with fake, or the miracles on the left-hand side. Right? He's able to give people back parts of their sight, or parts of their mobility back. But they have to go under the knife. They have to go under a certain type of anesthesia, or whatever the case may be, in order to receive of this quote-unquote healing. Right? And in doing so, what happens? Right? He only reports on the people who actually get the function back. He doesn't report on the thousands or millions of people he's experimented on and they're worse off. Right? He only talks about the positive numbers, man. But those are pseudo miracles. See, when you take a look at the right hand miracles, Yahweh Shai told them, and by thy faith thou hast been made whole. Right? Meaning a complete whole healing, completely sound in body. Right? And it was their faith because of what they believed. And Salakia, once again, if I'm sounding funny, but Lord will, I can be heard, Lord will, the words are coming through. This 14, it says, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. There it is. right? Those miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. Said, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. That the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Right? And the image of the beast is not only one facet or one particular thing, man. Right? Here it is. You have Israelite camp say the image of the beast is Caesar Borgia. That's BS. No. The image of the beast is a conglomerate of things in which Esau is promoting forth his truth and soundness, man. You should call it the pharmaceutical industry. That's part of the image of the beast. Esau's media is part of the image of the beast. AI is part of the image of the beast, right? The educational system is part of the image of the beast. The medical system is part of the image of the beast. We can go on and on and on, right? Food and Drug Administration is part of it. And how do you know? Well, you see Esau running all of these different fields. And when you take a look at each of those fields under a microscope, you see how he's manipulating every one of those facets in order to control and to strip your rights or privileges from them. And he's inserting himself and telling you, hey, I'm your God now. Oh, you want this certain privilege? You want to eat this certain thing? Oh, well, guess what? Your carbon selection. Well, your carbon tax, or what you've been allowed for this particular month, and you've gone over that limit, right? So we're not going to allow you to partake in this. Or you've been breathing too much air this month. Oh, you haven't been taking your monthly meds this month. Why not? Oh, you haven't taken them? Okay, well, we're gonna make sure that you take them. We're gonna put you in jail or whatever the case may be. We'll find you. It's like find you, FINE, right? But all his economic system is part of the image of the beast, and ultimately that's going to lead into the MARK, which is the MOTB, right? Under UBI and central banking digital currencies, right? It's all one system to keep you what? To keep you an employee and to keep you quote unquote happy, but not owning anything, man. And ultimately you submitting yourselves unto him by sticking out your hand, receiving that MOTB, man. But AI is going to be the forefront of that because it's going to be a God unto you. And a guide, a God and a guide unto you. It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Right? Just reading NLT, it says, he was then permitted to give life to this statue, right? Which we understand is not physical anymore, man. It is now what? It's artificial. It's electronic. Right? This is the life he's giving into that particular God, man. It says so that it could speak. It says, then the statue of the beast commanded that anyone refusing to worship it must die. Right? So now if AI assumes, right, because you have something called pre-crime. If AI deems, and it was just an article on it, I believe last week or a week and a half ago, basically of AI having a picture of a man, I believe he's in Colorado or some Midwest state. But basically he was shopping in a grocery store, and AI basically said that it was a 94 to 99% match of the man that they 86th out of casino. Was it Reno? It could have been Reno. But it was somewhere over in the west to the Midwest. But anyways, it was like a 94 to 99% match that the man that they 86 from this establishment was actually him. And the man it was a trucker. And he provided his information. He provided his what you call it, his ID. All his identification, stating that he was actually who he was saying he was, and it still didn't matter. The police locked him up still, right? But he has a lawsuit actually coming out for it, because they said that he faked his identification. But it was AI that made basically the alerts to the police for the arrest, right? So the system is obviously flawed, and it's going to be in the favor of those whom the algorithm benefits, man. And it's not for us, man. Esau is the mastermind. Well, ultimately, Yahweh Shimon Shai is the mastermind, because they created and allowed Esau. They put this in the mind of Esau to create. But nevertheless, the Lord is going to allow Esau for a season to use this to persecute, man. The videos that AI pushes out, and you don't know whether they're real or fake. That's how seamless the technology is getting, right? So it'd be nothing for him to accuse, because we understand the scriptures say that's what he's going to be doing, right? Accusing who? The saints, right? So I just wanted to make sure, to cover the basis of this here, because they're in support of giving AI the authority to control public policy making decisions. And we already know Esau's system is flawed, right? So with it being flawed, the unrighteous decrees are only going to increase. This is Isaiah 10:1. It says, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed," right? So imagine if AI can just pump out these laws, because they pump out the answers to the quotas or the prompts in seconds. So imagine what it would do in the case of writing laws up in order to incriminate. It's going to be no problem, man. It's going to be a little to no effort. The elites can then at that point just pinpoint what they want to take out and strip from it, and what they want to add to it. Because you can do that all within, a chat GPT or within a Grok AI. But we understand that the forms of AI that they're using are far more advanced to that. See, the AI that they're allowing the public to use, those are just the free versions, right? They have a ChatGPT Pro, ChatGPT Plus, a Grok Plus, right? And those are just the ones that you can have on a monthly subscription. But what about the ones that Esau isn't allowing the public to touch, right? But this is what this devil is doing. Esau Edom, the so-called white man. Esau Edom, the so-called white man. If you don't know who he is, right? Who's not going to be saved, just like the heathens aren't going to be saved. Gotta let that be known too, man. Because you got a lot of other Israelite camps telling you that everybody can now be saved, which is straight up bullshit, man. But that was the point right there, man. Salaki. Right? Even when we understand how we're preaching and prophesying, the scriptures talk about how they're going to make a man an offender for a word. Salaki, man. Salaki. This is Isaiah 29. There's 21. Okay, Isaiah 29:21 says, 20. It says, "For the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off, that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught." Right? We understand with us preaching, prophesying, bringing out the righteous words of Yahweh Shemel Shai in truth and sincerity, that it's nothing for Esau to set forth the algorithm to persecute the saints. This is part of it, right? You already got AI courts. It's actually a movie on there of AI judge. Basically, a man has to convince the system that he's innocent, but he can only stand in front of the AI system and do it. I can't remember what it's called, but I know I remember seeing what do you call it? A trailer on it. Okay. That's the point, man. They're gonna make us an offender for a word. Ultimately, for the words of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. And with people already in support of this text, it just shows you that this is the end in which our forefathers, seen. It says younger generations. So like I'm gonna start here. It says these results are stunning. Heartland researchers are quoted in the announcement. What we are seeing is an early emergence of an AI strongman mentality among younger Americans. Younger generations are increasingly disillusioned with the failures of traditional institutions, so much that they are willing to hand control to artificial intelligence. And that's the point, man. So they're willing to give up their rights for a convenient fee, basically. So that's the point. A Lord willing, the lesson was edifying into the body. Lord willing, I could actually be heard, Salakia, but the spirit has been hot. I haven't been able to physically talk because of the pain, but nevertheless, today I was like, I can't, bro. I can't go long, bro. A week was enough. It was just watching lessons, studying, taking notes. It's like, bro, I gotta preach, man. So, Lord willing, to hear me. Only of all praise, glory, and honor unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakah HaKodash. A double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS Great Millstone, and a sincere shalom to you, Akim, bringing out this word in diligence and in truth. Shalom.